Hey, what's going on, my metal stackers? Fake gold. We know it's out there. We know it exists. But did someone just try to sell me a fake 1933 double eagle? Stick around. You got to hear this. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. It would mean so much to me and I would really appreciate your support. Let's jump right into it. This is just an absolutely wild story based on a true event here. So let's get right into it. So I get a call from a gentleman who wanted to sell me a gold coin. I asked him what type of gold coin. He said he wasn't sure, other than it was a lady holding a torch and an eagle on the back. So automatically, automatically I assumed it was an American gold eagle, right? And I get a lot of calls for buying and selling. Obviously, I'm in the bullion business. Anyways, he came in, handed me this coin. Let me see if I can zoom in real quick. So you can see that mint mark here, 1933. I automatically knew it was fake. I said, no way, guy. This is this is totally fake. And he wasn't convinced. And I told him, well, I'm going to give you a quick history on this coin. All right, so most of the community stackers out there, we all know about the famous Executive Order 6102 signed by Franklin D. Roosevelt back in 1933. For those of you who are not familiar with Executive Order 6102, this is a quick lesson. And this is something every stacker should hear me out, because there's a lot of YouTube video creators out there and they talk about the great gold confiscation. They use the word confiscation a lot. And when I think of confiscation, I think of government officials breaking down your door and seizing your property, seizing your gold, right? That's not exactly what happened. No way. Executive Order 6102, order, mind you, okay? An order required all Americans to turn in their gold to the Federal Reserve Bank by May 1st, 1933. And by doing so, Americans would receive $20.67 per coin or per ounce. Now, there were some exceptions, and a lot of YouTube video creators, they do not talk about this, right? You got to read the order. I mean, it's it's there, black and white, clear as day. But the exceptions were this: Americans were allowed to hold at least 5 ounces of gold. At that time, that was about $100, a little over $100, right? So they were allowed to hold 5 ounces. Anything over that, they were ordered and required to turn them in. Another exception: dental industries were exempt from turning in their gold. At that time, believe it or not, dental work, people were getting, I don't know, crowns or fillings made out of gold. So dental industries were exempt from that. Another exemption: rare coins. Bullion dealers or any American holding a very, very rare coin, those were exempt. Okay. I don't know, when I think of a very rare gold coin, I think of, Indian heads, right? Back in the 1800s, right? Those are pretty rare, and pretty special. But those were the exemptions. And a lot of YouTube video creators, they don't talk about that. You know, they just hype up these stories about the great gold confiscation. It wasn't a confiscation. Call it what you will. Some people may say, well, yeah, that is considered a confiscation. Well, I'm not going to get into this argument back and forth, but if we read the order, it was an order, and it specifically states all Americans are required. The word required is not the same as confiscation, right? So again, when I think of confiscation, I think of search and seizure, right? Knocking someone's door or breaking someone's door down and confiscating your property. That did not happen. Another critical point I forgot to mention, when the federal government felt comfortable knowing most Americans turned in their gold, well, the federal government decided to revalue gold from $20.67 to $35 an ounce, thereby robbing Americans of their wealth. If anything, that was the biggest robbery. That was the biggest theft of all time. Hardworking Americans, their savings completely robbed by good old USA. I love our country, but the government is something that I have my battles with, right? I think the government should stay out of people's pocket and do what's right for the country and not themselves, right? But anyways, let's get back to the coin. This gentleman, he was so convincing that it was real. I said, no way, guy, and I can test it. And he did mention, hey, it passed the, where's my magnet? It passed the magnet test. And you know what? There's a lot of fake silver and gold out there that will pass the magnet test. And this is a pretty strong magnet. So I was surprised. Actually, not really surprised that it passed a magnet test. But anyways, a typical St. Gaudens coin weighs about 33.4 grams. So here's my scale, 19.89 grams. So well off the 33.4 grams. But he still wasn't convinced. And that now I'm getting to a point where it's becoming a challenge to convince this guy. But I told him, I said, this is probably the test of all tests here. Good old Sigma does a really good job. Let's run a test on this. Now, for those of you that do not know, the St. Gaudens is 90% gold. Okay, so 90% gold, 10% copper. So we're going to select our purity here. Wrong selection. Here we go. We're at 90%. Run that. Okay. Way off. Way off. Obviously, that should be right in between those brackets. And I usually like to test both sides. Again, way off. So I told this guy, listen, you're wasting my time. This is not real. And, he was still adamant about getting something for it. He said, listen, I still think it's a rare year. I'm happy to accept, spot. I said, are you kidding me? Listen to yourself. This is a fake gold coin. There is no way I'm giving you spot. And I got to a point where I told him, I said, listen, it is a crime to try to sell with the intention, I should say, the intention of selling fake gold. That is a crime. And if I wanted to, I could have reported him. Yeah, so I quickly ended that conversation with that gentleman. And I actually think I spooked him out of the office when I told him any intention knowing that you're trying to sell me fake gold is a crime, and I will report it. I have absolutely zero tolerance for that BS, and I won't put up with it. In fact, none of us should. But guys, can you imagine if this was a real 1933, authentic 1933 gold coin? What would you do in this situation? Please leave me some comments. I'm very curious what you would do. But this is just absolutely wild. In fact, before I forget, in 2003, a family came across, get this, 10 authentic 1933 St. Gaudens gold coins. It was appraised at over $80 million. That appraiser, however, reported the coins to the Secret Service. Secret Service confiscated those 10 gold coins. Talk about confiscation. That is a perfect definition of confiscation. Talk about search and seizure. They took all 10. Supposedly, 8 were melted down. 1 was sent to the Smithsonian Museum in DC. I'll actually leave a link on the side so you guys can check it out. And the other coin was auctioned off. That's the rumor. That's the story. Again, you can't always believe what you read on the internet, but please don't forget to leave me some comments. I'm curious what you guys would do in this situation. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, guys, please. I would really appreciate it. As always, take care of your health, preserve your wealth. Most importantly, keep rocking, keep stacking. Thanks, guys.